Hello and welcome to another episode of Superpowers. Today I'm very excited because we have co-host Jane Sibbett here again today. And joining us is Mas Sajady. And Mas is truly an extraordinary story. He had 2 near-death experiences in his lifetime, and as a result of those, he's been gifted with amazing healing abilities. And well, we call him a transformational catalyst because it's hard to really put him into any one category. But he works with people on a core spirit frequency level and is able to make adjustments that help people get through various challenges that they're having in their lives, whether they be physical or emotional or relationship-based. And wonderful man, and a great healing gift he has. And so I'd love to just jump right in and say hello to Mas and say hello to Jane. Hello, Jane.
Aloha, Karl. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for having us on.
And I want to say hi to Mas. Hi, Mas.
Hi, Karl. How are you guys? You guys both look fantastic today.
Thank you. Doing pretty awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
So Jane, I want to just jump right in because I know that Mas has something really super exciting coming up really soon. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that? And then I want to jump to all the really cool stuff that Mas has to tell us about what's going on right now. So real quick, just tell us about the event that's coming up.
Well, Mas is coming to the Big Island first and then over to Kauai. He's coming here on October 5th. And we have this adventure retreat we're going to be swimming with the dolphins. We're going to go up to the top of Mauna Kea and connect up there with the stars and have a little hike up there. And beyond the adventure aspect of the retreat, Mas is going to be talking to us a lot about the transitions that are happening right now and connecting us to his pure source energy that is so amazing.
Yes.
And Mas, you had shared recently that there had been a huge surge or wave, as you called it, of energy that's coming in. So I think that this retreat seems to be well timed for that.
Oh, I think it's perfect because a lot of people are in a time of transition. You know, this wave that's coming through is magnifying everything. So being on top of the wave, obviously, it's going to be a better place to be. So helping you get to that top is, it'd be a fantastic opportunity. And along with the adventure side, we're going to have a lot of, say, not in classroom, but just kick back, relax type talks, meditations as well. So if you're not the active type,
right,
we've got something for both.
That's right, because not everybody wants to go down and swim with the dolphins. And
yeah, exactly.
Even though it's magnificent, or up to Mauna Kea. Yeah, every day when we're doing these retreats, we also have that opportunity to go back to that hale next to Spencer Beach. And we'll be right there, right next to the ocean, where Mas is going to be working with us. And Mas, when you work with us, I know that when you speak, you are sharing the frequency the entire time, aren't you?
Yes. In fact, anybody listening to this conversation will start feeling something. And if not, I'm still working on you. But people who are sensitive, let's say, will feel something. So yes, I'm working on you all the time.
So
hey, Mas, I'm sorry, yes. Jane. I wanted to go back to a thought real quick, just for the people like myself who are not sensitive, who don't feel things as they're going on, and this wave of energy that's coming through right now. Are there any, say you don't sense it in your body necessarily, or you just don't pick it up, any other sorts of signs or ways that somebody might just get clued into things that are going on and have a sense of what is happening?
Sure. You might see people around you acting differently, or maybe a little more tense, or a little more aggressive. I hate to put it in this context, but you know how, say, like animals, or especially cockroaches, they get antsy when something's about to happen.
Do cockroaches get antsy? I didn't know that.
They actually do. And I didn't want to liken people to cockroaches.
It's happened before.
In a sense, that's what people do.
Right.
They get antsy. So you'll start to see a lot of things, a lot of questioning, especially like you say in relationships or in situations that you're in, right? So if you don't feel it, you'll still see people around you, and even yourself, although you might not feel it internally, like, hey, there's something going on, you're going to be starting thinking about, hey, is this the right timing for me? Am I doing things right? Am I in the right relationships? All that.
Yeah. Would you say right now, just in general, and this again is for, you know, people just getting to know you, just coming in,
Yes.
that this particular time where we are in our journey through space is one of kind of accelerated growth and transformation for people?
It actually is, you know, just kind of scanning back. And by the way, the way my abilities work, if you ask me a question, I tap into that knowledge base that's out there for everybody. It's not my concepts, or it's not like I didn't read this from anybody, but just kind of tapping in. Yes, this is the most opportune time that's ever been around in this phase. This phase has never come. We've never come, say, a complete circle. So this is totally brand new, really time of awakening. And even individuals, you know, like Jesus or Buddha or any of those people have never, say, gone into these levels before because, well, they weren't available at that time. So it's very new for almost, well, everybody and everything, spiritual and living.
So now I actually want to back up even further.
Okay.
and I want to just go from Jane. I think I saw that you have an idea too, so just hold that because I may not go to where you're going to go. But and I just want to go on the assumption that there will be people in our audience that are watching right now who may not know who you are, Mas.
Okay.
So I'd love just a little background about you,
Okay.
just quickly, and then and how you came to these gifts that you
Sure.
have, and I will say that I believe what we settled on for you as a categorized term that we can put a box we can put you into. I think you liked transformational catalyst best of everything that we threw out.
Transformational catalyst, now an oracle.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Oh, I like that too. Okay.
So basically, 30-second elevator pitch.
Awesome.
I've had through two near-death experiences, I've been given fantastic abilities to help you transform in any area of your life, whether it's spiritual, physical, relationships, wealth, anything that's under that we can create as humans. I can help you edit, transform. I've helped thousands of people all over the world with amazing results. The oracle part comes in, you know, back in the days, and even now, you know, corporations still use some sort of intuitive, you know, the open type CEOs or owners. They back in the day, you know, kingdoms, people of wealth, they used somebody to foresee the future as well as seeing the past. I am similar to that. The only difference is that I am actually given that ability to edit, delete, transform, like futures or anything that's happened in the past that helps you transform your future space.
And this is my last one, Jane, and this is just for for clarity. And as I understand from having seen you before, that you're doing this work on a frequency level, as you describe it, and really at sort of a core spirit level. And can you talk just a little bit about that real quick? So I just want people to be up to speed with, you know, kind of who you are and what you're able to do.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let me kind of explain how I see frequencies and where people are, and that'll give you a truer definition. So you have the physical density of like human form, and that's where, you know, like Western medicine, chiropractors, massage, medicines, prescriptions, surgeries, things like that, exercise, that's where that lies. Then you go up a step, and in that realm, that middle realm, there is like intuitive psychics, energy healers, and most of say healers that are out there, we exist in this area. Chakras, again, energy systems. And then you skip a couple steps and you go into the 5th layer, 6th layer, And that's where I am. And very few individuals, I don't know anybody else out here. I'm sure there's somebody though. Anyway, at that level, you start producing, or you start creating or editing at a core level frequency, or at what your spirit has created your life. So that's why people get, say, phenomenal or fast changes, because it is at the top level that you're editing or changing. Okay.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
So, and Karl, just to give you anecdotal, and for the people that are watching, I can't say listeners because we actually have a camera today, but for my mom, she was in terrible, terrible pain. She had a problem with her neck, and she couldn't hold her head up, as you know, and it'd been getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and she was in so much pain that she was crying out. She'd gone to the doctors. The doctors had said and told her at 85 years old that she needed to risk surgery, that her only hope, and it wouldn't even relieve any pain, but the only hope that she could ever have her neck back was if they fused all the bones together. Wow. And when I had gone to see Mom, and I called up Mas and I just said, is there anything that you can do for her? She couldn't even get on the phone because she was in so much pain. And so he began working on her through me. And I would say probably within a week, she started to be able to hold her head up, even sooner actually after that. But she actually got worse. It got more intense pain as the night went on. And then I think it was about 2 weeks later that she had an appointment with the doctor, and the same exact surgeon said to her, "No, you're about 95%. I wouldn't recommend surgery." So it was like this radical change that that my niece couldn't believe it, and Mom couldn't believe that this was the same surgeon saying she didn't need surgery anymore. And this is something that just doesn't repair on its own. It was degenerative. Her spine had gotten so bad. So Mas, can you tell me what you did for her?
Well, I don't know the exact science behind it all, because our intelligence is very limited to what's out there. Right. But to the closest thing, anything that's created in this physical form, or density, I call it, is really a frequency that creates. Just like, for example, Karl, you're pretty familiar. Any color has certain frequencies that creates or generates that color. Or anything, if you look at the periodical charts, aluminum, gold, whatever, has a certain frequency or a certain density. We are actually originators of those frequencies. We can create anything that we wish. So in, say, her neck, there's a certain frequency of degeneration. But what if you could, say, delete that frequency of degeneration and instill, say, a newer form or a youthful frequency that she had once before? And then that will generate, a new outcome for her. And there's been studies on this, a lot of psychological studies, where people have transformed immediately. Where people have had, say, diabetes, and then they go switch into another personality, and there's no signs of diabetes.
Right. Yeah. Here's a question for you, just out of my own curiosity on the frequency level, and I'm going to jump into your computer programming language just for a second. Sure. because it just makes a lot of sense. So when you're doing that and you're changing the frequency, do we have within us, say, like an innate operating system that works best with specific frequencies, that when the correct one is reintroduced to that operating system, it will work really well? If we try to do something that maybe isn't as compatible, we may not see the same kind of results. I'm just curious about, all the levels on how that might work.
Yeah, and I call that the frequency signature, actually. And what that is, everybody, yes, we're all the same, but, we all have our own idiosyncrasies, all that, and that's what makes us us, and that's what makes us beautiful. Yes, so there are, say, general frequencies that I can help you instill, like frequencies of wealth. There are certain habits that no matter what flavor you are, those habits still pertain to wealth. So in that sense, yes. But you can create any type of frequency and then create the results of those frequencies as well. So if some people say like, what, no pain, no gain, right?
Right.
Or you have to work really, really hard, right, to create wealth, right?
Right.
There's a frequency of that, and that's what's going to happen for you. But if you truly believe that, you know, that working easily or effortlessly and then creating wealth, you can create that rule set for you, and that's the frequencies that generate. And there's lots of people like that as well, that they don't have to work as hard, but they've got massive amounts of wealth.
Well, let's talk about that then. So let's say you're somebody, sorry, Jane,
Okay.
that does feel like that you have to work really, really hard, you know,
Yes.
to generate money.
Yes.
And that does work for you. You work really, really hard, and you are generating money.
And we're
But
not talking about you, right?
No, I'm
Karl?
not talking about me. No, because yeah.
You just worked really
But
hard.
let's just say, for hypothetically, okay.
Just
So,
hypothetically.
but let's say, you know what? I'd like to generate more money than I am, but work way, way, way less hard. So now, is there a way that belief system can effectively be shifted so that that would work?
Oh yeah, it happens all the time with people I work with. Or by the way, guys, anything that I can do, you can do on your own. I just do it much faster for you. It's kind of like that, you know, you're a kid. You know, you might be struggling on the computer for hours and hours, and then goes, "Hey, Dad, what are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, I'm trying to do this." It's like, "Well, let me do it for you." And you know, it's like a couple mouse clicks and boom, they're done, right?
Yeah.
Is that the way it works? So basically, I'm that spirit geek that goes, "Hey, let me just show you how to do it." And get it.
Spirit geek.
Okay.
You're a spirit wonk. That's what
Yeah.
There you go. But yes, I've transformed a lot of individuals. You know, a lot of that actually comes from your lineage, you know, your parents and so on, that just drive it into us. And then we see them doing it, and then we see ourselves as, oh, that's the way we have to make money, or, you know, live our life, is work really, really hard, and not feel even deserving on top of that while we're working hard, and then not make a lot of money. Might be you, actually, Karl, just kind of reading into you. Sorry.
you can adjust that anytime you want, Mas. Go
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
anyway,
can fix that while we're doing this. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, you can do that. But sorry about that. But yes, I mean, those are the kind of frequencies that say run in us, but those frequencies aren't true. They're not accurate. You can put in or instill a truer frequency of who you are, and then that starts replacing, and that's how you start living in a different format.
Right. Karl?
Yes.
Okay, you're absorbing.
Well, I am absorbing. I didn't want to jump in too fast again with the next one in case you had something that you were going to jump in with. So.
Well, I know this is all great. I mean, I love when Mas is bringing this on. Mas, when you were talking to us about any subject, literally though, all of these frequencies that we're trying to work on. It's not like you're just working on one frequency, unless you focus it on just financial abundance. But right now, the frequency that you're bringing in right now can work in a myriad ways. Yes, like
yes.
And
that's why I say people who hang around me, and you know, people want to say like change the world. You know, the best way to really change the world is really to change yourself, come into a higher space of yourself. So when you walk around, or when you're talking to somebody, they start to see the trueness of you. In fact, we just did a session on being authentic. You know, that authentic self that comes out. You know, when you're that authentic, it's just amazing how people transform around you. So that's the frequency that I bring in, the frequency of trueness. And then that envelops like everybody that's listening in. It could be a recording, or you could listen to this over and over. And that's what you're feeling, and that brings. We all came from that purity space. And once you do that, so, you know, some of the issues that you think that you have just start to fall away. That's all.
Well, and speaking of that, we do have a few guests today that would love to experience you, and
sure.
A couple have never met you before, and might have one or two that have. And so I'd love, if it's okay with you, Karl, to invite one in right now, if that's all right.
That's great. Yeah, let's do.
Okay, so I'm gonna Bring in Marta.
Okay, so now we are going to jump to a Skype call, and we have a friend of Jane's, Marta Barreras. I think that's right. Yes, Marta? And
Yes.
so Marta is going to have a little session here with Mas, and we'll just jump right in. So hello, Marta.
Hi, aloha.
Aloha.
Hey, it's
From
good to
Kealakekua Bay.
for our audience to know that she's also in a cottage right now above Kealakekua Bay, which is a very beautiful and powerful sacred spot on the island of Hawaii, where we're going to be for our retreat as well.
Yes.
So,
You
Mas,
gorgeous.
I'd like to introduce you to Marta, Marta to Mas.
Hi, how are you, hon?
Hi, Mas. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. So should we just start? And again, you know, since we've been kind of sitting here, I've been kind of noting what goes on because I can't turn it off or anything. You know, you've got like fantastic abilities, Marta, but sometimes they distort you because you come from a physical form or physical essence. So you don't really, it's kind of like a glass ceiling for you. You know, again, fantastic abilities. You probably have come from a lineage of people with fantastic abilities, from what I'm sensing. But that knowledge is limited to, say, the physical form of this planet. And maybe that's why you're so good at what you do. I'm not exactly sure on what you do. But does that make sense to you so far?
Well, I'm very happy to move past any limitations. My intention is to bridge form and spirit. So.
Okay. And maybe that's why you're here. Because there is, or maybe you're sensing, and like I said, maybe that's why you're here. You're sensing that there is, say, higher opportunities. And by the way, Karl, this is that transition or that wave that we were talking about before. People are going from the physical form. So people with fantastic abilities, and I know quite a few, actually, people, fantastic abilities, very popular, very famous, and yet they're seeing some sort of distortion that their gifts or abilities aren't, say, up to par anymore or not that great, or they're seeing the opportunities that are lying awake or awaiting them. And I think that's where you are, Marta. That's why you're here. So bridging that gap for you, I can help you open that up for you. Okay? There's a space right by your necklace, just a little above that I see, kind of keeps you locked down to this physical. Not exactly sure. I mean, we can go back in time and kind of see what's going on, but I'd actually like to spend the time sealing that hole up, removing anything that's there. For those people who don't know, when I see people, I see frequencies. I don't see like your physical form, although you're here. I see what creates you. And right in that area, again, it's kind of a hole that just binds you and keeps you like planted to this earth. And that's why you can't say ascend higher. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there's also this sense of anxiety or maybe a little tension in you right now. Maybe a little uncomfortable, or even coming up to this moment in time. And it's not being, say, on camera or anything like that, but actually it's part of that spirit or part of that, what I call a pain body, kind of like in your own space. And it knows at some level that it needs to leave or get deleted somehow. And that's what you're sensing. So you might feel uncomfortable now. Or you might have been even nervous before, and you'd probably get nervous after this as well, which is totally fine. Again, that's all that old stuff leaving you. So your new awakening can come through. How are you feeling right now? You might not feel anything. Most people do, but that's okay if you don't, especially in that chest, throat area.
Is it the side, Mas, that you're referring to? The side of my throat and chest?
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, just a little more to the center. Perhaps but it radiates out.
Okay.
Yes, so just kind of tapping in. Do you have some physical issues there too, or?
I don't have any physical issues, Moss, but I have had feelings of energy block here
Yes.
from time to time that I work with.
Okay.
And it's more on this side.
Yeah. It kind of comes from that side, and then it's. Are you guys familiar with the black holes? You know how black holes work? They just like suck everything in. So a lot of energy does come from that side for you, yes, but then it pulls into that hole and it sucks like everything into that hole, just like similar to a black hole. And that's what you're feeling, yes. It does pull everything into you. So let's just kind of seal that up for you. And if you can see, I don't know if you can see my hand or not. I use it not to say change. Well, I change frequencies, but I don't move, say, energies or like the physical energies. It's actually like a higher level programming that I do for you. But that's going back in your lineage too. I'm getting so much information, so I kind of jump around. Sorry, guys. There's also like a tribe that kind of stands behind you as well. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, and you connect with them. Almost like a dozen people or elders or whatever you name them. Right? Do you want to tell, I don't know what you do exactly, so if you want to tell the audience what you do, but it is, so that it might define for me as well.
Well, the label that I've been using is I'm a feng shui master, but really I help people align their lives so that they can manifest their purpose and their dreams, really, in the world. So I am working with spirit and form. And I'm happy, really grateful. If you see any blocks to spirit in that work, with whatever we can do to clear that.
Yes. In what you do, again, feng shui of physical space, directing energies through physical space, using crystals or whatever it might be. Again, using the physical form. But you're tapping into and you're starting to realize, and those elders, we'll just call them elders, if that's okay with you, that follow you or can help you. They've been using that for I don't know how long, centuries, and actually thousands of years. They're actually getting, say, upgraded as well, because as I work on you, they're kind of huddling around and actually excited because they've always known, kind of like a prophecy, that there is something higher, but they could never attune to that level. I don't know if you feel it or can you connect with them, Marta?
Well, I connect with them daily.
Okay.
I've been feeling the need to step into exactly that, what feels like a prophecy in a more powerful way.
Yes. And so they're excited. I don't know if you can tap into them now, but they're excited about this whole, I guess, arrangement as well. Because as you say, ascend higher, I can work on that whole space or those elders as well in spirit form to help them, say, ascend into those higher levels or higher knowledge. And I know that kind of sounds strange, and it kind of sounds strange to me. Is like, okay, they're in spirit form, they should know this stuff, or they should be able to, say, be in a higher space than, say, me, a physical form. But for some reason, I've helped tons of, say, elders or spirits of knowledge, like, ascend to higher forms, just like I help people ascend to higher forms. I still don't know why they can't do it themselves. Or, in the lowercase, people who have crossed over, who have died, and they're still stuck, what religion calls purgatory, I think, in the Catholic religion. They're kind of stuck, so they need me to free them. So I'm going, well, they're in spirit form. Why can't they understand that? So I don't understand that aspect of it either, but I guess I don't have the knowledge, per se, to understand it. But let's just remove whatever that's needed to allow, your whole group, let's just say. And Marta, you're the physical representation of this group. Okay? So we'll help you open up into the higher realms. And you might not feel things, say, right away.
I'm feeling it.
Oh, you are? Oh, fantastic. So you're moving a little faster. I was going to say there's going to be a delayed reaction for you because, you know, frequencies, because you're so connected to the physical form, there's a time element that comes in. You are, or your whole group is a little different. Even your group in spirit form, there is a density that I don't see normally. So you always see or have seen things through, say, the essence of nature or the essence of the physical world. So, and that's why I thought it might be a little delay, because there's a time and distance there. But the nice thing is that you're feeling it now, which is beautiful. So you'll start to see, or you start to feel the intricate or the detail of how the physical form that you've been, you know, working and helping people with, are created or is created. Did that make sense?
Well, I'm a little confused, Mas, because I actually work with nature as a way to help people ground from being too disembodied or too spiritual or too in their head. So I've never really felt myself as being attached to form. I grew up in an ashram. Maybe if you could word things in a way that I could understand that a little bit more.
Sure, yeah. Clarity is always good. Yes, let's talk about, say, some of the people who you feel distorted or not in their physical form. You know, when you help them, you actually help them connect into their physical form through the sense of nature, and that actually balances them out. So in its truest sense, if we look at it at a deeper level, what's happening is that, you know, where they're disembodied or disconnected, that doesn't mean that they're in spirit form or in their truer spirit form. It's a distorted spirit form, and that's why they're there. Okay. If they were, say, truly awakened at that level, they wouldn't need you, really. They can sense who they are, what they are, and then come in and out of their bodies as they please. So first of all, one, they don't know that they're at that spirit level or disconnected from their form. So what you're doing again is bringing into, say, a grounding, like you said, and then that regenerates that memory of them being in their truer sense or truer nature of themselves. Did that make sense for you?
It does. And so I'm creating this safe, powerful space where people can bring their spirit and their essence in to the physical plane more powerfully. And so is that maybe what you're sensing, that I'm maybe a little bit too attached to that form of creating that safe space?
Yes. Now there's two different levels that we're talking about. One is the teacher-student, and then the teacher, and then, say, what's beyond for you, the facilitator of that teacher. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So when you're talking about the people that you've worked on, that's, say, like a different level, because you're creating that space. But then how do you create that space, right? Just like, again, computer experience, you know, you use a program like Word or Skype. We're on Skype, right? And we can use it phenomenally, right? We can create a lot of things. But then do we actually know how Skype works, right? All the programming behind Skype, right? That technology has eluded us. And that technology of your physical space going into, say, spirit form has eluded you and your group. So that's what you're going into, is actually that higher space of, oh, wow, this is how Skype works on the back end, although I can see it, how it works for me. Now for you?
That's what I've been aiming for.
Yes, and that's a huge, huge difference, don't you think? So,
it's an expanded
Yes.
It feels like an expanded, and I've been searching for that expanded expression out
Yes.
from the form of what I have been doing very successfully, but it feels like there's an expansion that's being called for.
Exactly, and that's I guess why we're here together. You'll learn and pick up fast, and you'll start to see the intricate details of how you transform, say, the physicalness of this world, like Feng Shui, right? There's energy systems. I don't know about Feng Shui, but just kind of tapping into you. There's certain energy, the way energy moves through things, right? Or creates, was it hallways or pathways, right?
Well, Feng Shui is actually like it's based on, it's like doing acupuncture on your life.
Okay, sounds good.
You're opening up the semi-physical and energetic pathways for things to flow.
Right. Now you can sense those now, perhaps, but I actually see in you that you'll actually see the way those energy systems actually move through. Just to give you a clear example, we have, say, a breeze out comes through, right? Although we can feel it, we can sense it, we can't see it. You actually be given the abilities or open up to those abilities of, oh, you can actually see the air moving through rather than feeling and seeing it. Does that make sense to you? So if the wind was, you'll see how it flows through, right? Or generates that pattern. You'll see the Feng Shui generations of those patterns, and as you move, say, people around or furniture or building spaces, whatever it is, you'll actually start to see those patterns come through more visible because they are there. Have the human capabilities, but it seems like you will. It's really interesting. Very nice. Very beautiful, actually.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
Well, that was actually really, really super cool. And I hate to jump in the middle, but I think we need to go to our next guest, Beth. So thank you, Mas, for that, for working with Marta.
You are welcome.
Thank you, Marta. And what a great gift for Marta, too, as well as other healers that are on and people that are working with energy, because you are helping other people help other people, which...
Yes, exactly. And Marta, you might, what I do is basically help you instill whatever you need, because there's nothing else you have to do, but you will get guided on what to do. And your guides will actually help transform as well. They'll transform, so that connection is going to be much more powerful for you. Okay, hon?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Marta, we'll talk to you soon.
So that was very, very cool and really fun. And now we have another guest, another friend of Jane's, and this is Beth. And Jane, would you like to introduce Beth real quick?
Well, I'd like to introduce Beth as not only a friend, but a wonderful actress and writer and singer who has come from Boston and then to New York, and then now here is on the Big Island. And she is also with her husband, Steve, and they're here because they have something going on in their family that they would love to have Mas's help with. So I would just like to hand them straight over. We don't have a picture of live feed of Beth and Stephen right now, but but Mas is able to tap into their frequencies. So as you can see right now, he's already working.
Yeah, most of the time I have my eyes closed anyway, so it's okay. So Beth, you said you wanted me to work on somebody through you. Is that the deal?
Yes, please. I'd like you to work on my father-in-law, who was just diagnosed with a rare form of leukemia.
Yeah, I was going to say something wrong with his blood. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. And it was he was given a very he was given a short time to live, but with chemotherapy they said he could have a little more time. And I would love for you to work on him. He needs healing.
Okay. Again, tapping in through you, Beth. I'll be working on you, your husband, Steve, right? I can work on them, on you too, as well as working on your father-in-law, but just tapping into your father-in-law.
Thank you.
You know, his life has always been like stressful. There's always this sense of angst, you know, and like never completely, say, satisfied or happy, or something. You know, how something's in your shoe and it just bugs you, something little. It's kind of like that for his whole life, you know. Does that make sense, or?
That's not how he appears to the world, but maybe this is true.
Yeah, he has a nice facade, but deep inside, there's again, I see this sense of angst in him. You might want to actually just kind of open up and talk to him about that. It'll really open you up, or actually open him up, and make it okay to understand like where he is.
It might be that my mother-in-law, his wife, right after they got married, had developed cancer at a very young age, and she was supposed to die at 21, and she didn't. She didn't die. She went on to have 3 sons, but she's had several cancers over the years, and so he's struggled with her health, and he's the healthy one. And now, all these years later, he's sick.
That's the deal. So maybe that's what that deal is. There's always a sense of like imperfection.
Yes.
Does that make
That makes sense. Yes. That makes sense.
So that's so let's work on that. And how old is he?
84, but he's very young and hearty, and was never sick.
No.
Until he went to the doctor, and
till the last, I would say, like 3 years, right?
Not sure exactly how long.
Yeah, I'm sensing like 3.
Okay.
2 to 3 years. It kind of just like came upon him.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's why it's just like just a simple switch over. It wasn't like gradual; it just happened.
That's exactly how it happened. It came. That's exactly what he said as well. It was so sudden.
It just like took over him, basically.
Yes.
So again, I'm not a doctor or any type of health professional. I can only like guide or say, tell you what I see. Okay. Let's see. I have had, gosh, like dozens of people who have been, say, cured of cancer, or I've helped them, you know, cure themselves of cancer. Obviously, I don't do the healing or anything like that for them, but just opening that or allowing that space in. Also, at this age, you know, we always think of, say, transitioning over.
Yes.
So he's been thinking a lot about that as well. And his wife's still around, right?
Yes.
Very close. It seems like they're very close.
Very close. They've only been apart 6 nights in 60-something years.
Yeah, I see that. Or in 60-something lifetimes as well. Time after time after time, you know, they've come together. So they know each other, you know, at a very intimate level.
Yes.
Beyond the physicalness of this world. So that's very nice. You know, the beauty of like what I do is not just of this physical form, really, and again, that's kind of what we've talked about, that wave that's coming through, Karl, is that there is a sense of, say, purity coming through. We don't create from the previous experiences that we've had. Because these densities that we have in this realm just won't exist in the higher realms or the future, okay, what's coming up. So what that means is what I do not only helps you in this physical form, that's actually a byproduct, but when you start to create your next life, because I see them together in their next life as well, but without the distortions. And I think that's that issue that I was seeing. There's always something, like, no matter how great or perfect, you know, this relationship, there's always, say, something that just kind of like snaps after relationship after relationship. In this case, it's, you know, that having that cancer at a young age and then, you know, living through it. So the next lifetime, again, they'll be free of that little snag, so they can come into, you know, their own or their truer power without the snag, and really like enjoy each other at a deep level. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's a beautiful thought as well.
So they're already planning for that, and I see his wife kind of come in and really actually smiling. Seems like she's always had that something going on.
Yes.
That's kind of like stopped. Yeah, that's really a spiritual pattern. Lifetime after lifetime, there's always been, say, something going on that's like snagged on, and they can't figure out. And it kind of disturbs your father-in-law. It's like everything's perfect, but well, you know, what the hell? You know, why is this always, you know, like a nagging deal?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So let's delete or remove that pattern. And since, what's her name? I hate to call her his wife.
Marge.
Marge. So Marge, she was here, she'd be like really, say, giggly, almost like a young girl. Yeah. So, yeah. Which is very nice. So actually seeing her space, again, from her truer self, and that's why I see her, you know, effort, giggling.
Yes, she does. She giggles.
She just knows that she just knows that this time is going to be, say, the last time that this is going to happen. You know, where there's going to be a snag. So very nice. One thing to note, and I'm not saying it's going to happen in this scenario, but sometimes, you know, when people are at that age, no matter how healthy or non-healthy they are, they start to see the beauty, and that's I'm helping them open up to the trueness or the beauty as they transition over. Because again, they're at that age process. I mean, it's good for anybody at any age.
Yes.
But especially for them, they might tend to, say, like, get too excited and then like cross over faster. It's not a good. It's happened before, so just be aware of that. Just because they want to get, say, started, you know, on their new, say, journey. But and I'm not saying that's going to happen for these two, but that is something to think about. So as we open them up, I don't know if you're feeling it, Beth, but is there like a flutter in your chest?
Yes, I feel definitely. I wish you could see me. I am feeling that.
Yeah, and you're kind of, I don't know, perspiring or getting hotter or something.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm seeing that.
Temperature change happening.
Yeah. Kind of getting flush. Nice.
Yes, that's exactly right. And you can't see me, exactly what I am doing.
So as they, say, ascend higher or open up those doors, you know, there's that pull for you guys as well, or with you guys. So you start to sense, because you're open, so you're feeling basically what they're coming into. And it is a sense of beauty. There's also that sensuality coming out of you as well, because, well, in the physical brain, the sense of connecting to spirit is like overlaps the sense of like sensuality. So that's why we connect the two together. So if that's the case, that's you might be feeling that as well. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Everything you're saying makes sense.
So good thing your husband's around. Sorry. You can edit that out, Karl.
I will. Don't worry, I got your back.
Yeah. The byproduct of, say, connecting them to, say, the afterlife of this life is that they start to see like a truer vision of who they are, what they are in physical form, like beyond, say, the cancers that they have, right?
Yeah.
So the time that they have left here, is going to be more fruitful, more enjoyable. And kind of brings us back to, say, the cancers. See, who knows? Stranger things have happened. See if we can kind of help that go into somewhat of a remission, because it's really not, although it seems like a blood type issue, it's really contained in one area for him, which is actually amazing. It's kind of like the back of the heart or the lung area. I don't know if he has issues there or pain. Excuse me.
Well, Jane, might be picking up on me as well.
Might.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Beth. You can tell him.
Well, I have had a history. I had lung cancer, having never smoked 6 years ago. I'm fully recovered.
Okay.
But it's interesting you say lung. You even said the word lung, because you might be also sensing. I'm sure you are. My story. I don't know where his is housed, heart, lung, but that also makes sense to me.
Okay, yeah, and sometimes I kind of mesh things together. Your father-in-law and you have been in different lives together in some form, so there's that connection. You probably knew that already, or you felt that, yeah?
Do I feel a very deep connection to him?
Yes, that's true, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
And again, that comes from being together in some other form. Always kind of like a father, daughter-in-law type deal, or a father-daughter.
Yes, father-daughter-in-law, but he's always like a second father to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lifetime after lifetime, by the way.
Yes. Wow.
But so I think since he is a caring type individual as well,
caring.
He starts to harbor people's, and I think that's why I kind of see it in him, although it might be your issue, is say a resonance or like particles that are left over, a residue of, say, your issue in him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hadn't thought about that, but that's wow.
Because although I see it in you more apparent, there's like this space in him. So if he gets, by the way, since those frequencies of your issues are kind of melded into him, let's say, so he gets, say, another issue, and usually it might be around that same space. And that's kind of, like I said, unusual to have that kind of cancer, if you want to call it that, just in that area. So it affects him more because that space is, like, say, weak, anyway, because of the frequencies that he harbors because of you.
Wow.
And that doesn't mean that you should feel sad. Maybe I worded it wrong, but it's not because of you. It's just the way he is. He just absorbs. So that caring. So let's get rid of that. And then being that caring feeling, he's always had a sense of obligation.
Very much so.
For others.
Yes.
Sometimes, it's like, well, why can't I just, like, be on my own or be myself? You see this, and it's not a bad one, but it's like lifetime after lifetime, you start to wonder. Some people, they've had, say, a spouse that's been riddled with issues, right? And they've been a caretaker, and the spouse.
That's the case, exactly.
Yeah.
With his
spouse leaves, and then that spirit, although they've loved that person, that spirit just, like, gets so refreshed, after that person leaves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So he's, like, shedding that coat of that as well, of being a caretaker the next lifetime, or even the rest of his lifetime here, which is really going to be fantastic for him. He's going to actually, like, really be his own self without having a conscious awareness of something else.
Oh. Yes.
Even just kind of tapping into them, like, and you might not know this, but like somewhere around that, plus or minus 1 or 2 years, he was like taking care of somebody, somebody much older. So seems like, so even at that age, he's been kind of like a caretaker.
Oh wow! No, I don't know, but that makes sense with his family.
Yeah. So that sense of responsibility, always there for him.
Yes.
And Jane, how are you feeling?
I'm very emotional when you were speaking about mother's giddiness, and my heart's just like, I'm definitely feeling what you're talking about.
Yeah, because you're sensitive as I'm working, obviously, since you're here, and you're feeling that. And anybody listening in or watching, you know, and even if you're not sensitive, it's still working on you.
Yeah. I'm definitely feeling all the waves of the compassion. I could actually see the overlapping of Beth and her father-in-law.
Yeah. So your abilities have really increased.
Heat, a lot of heat.
So for you, Beth, that sense of obligation relieving, since you're in that group dynamics, that'll release you as well.
Mm.
I don't know if you're aware, but you are sensitive to certain foods, by the way.
She definitely knows.
I know. Yes.
And you're still eating those foods, by the way.
So
I think
stop that.
I'm macrobiotic.
So whatever you're eating, it might be something, something that's, you know, like in everything. You know, sometimes corn is in everything, or something genetically modified. Is genetically modified? Yes. So, so for you, Beth, it's plastics. Really.
A lot of plastic foods these days.
So genetically modified foods, for example, not the best for you. Any kind of genetically modified food.
Right. I try to stay away from that, but I agree with you about the plastics. That's absolutely true for me.
Yeah, and the reason why I say plastics and genetically modified food, you know, corn is used. They produce corn like over 90% plastic. They use it as plastic car parts, things like that. They change the structure by about 10%, and then they use it for human consumption. So, and then they spray petroleum.
Yes.
Fertilizers, insecticides. So you're taking all that in. You know, so when you're eating, so the more organic that you can get.
I do eat organically. I do, but I'm very sensitive to everything you're saying. You're really picking up on something that's absolutely true about me. But may I share something that I'm feeling?
Sure, honey, anytime.
You know, so as I said, I had lung cancer 6 years ago, and I feel cured and well, but I'm feeling a really deep connection right now to my own lungs, and a deeper sort of, and I know this session isn't first and foremost about me, but I'm feeling, I don't know, connecting with you.
Yes.
And it started when you talked about, you know, my father-in-law. You asked about the lung area, and
okay, yeah.
So I want to acknowledge that I'm feeling that as I'm with you.
Very beautiful. So yes, you know, although say the memories of that cancer is gone, the physical memories, you know, those frequencies say like lie dormant for you, and that's what's releasing from you. So in the next lifetime, or even in this lifetime, you don't have to have it again, or you don't have to create it again. And then the issues that go around
Yeah.
That cancer. And there's a lot of emotional issues, say, that are coming into you, attached to that.
Yes.
That's coming up for you.
Very much so.
Yeah, and all those things releasing for you as well. So, which again kind of goes back to you and your husband. You'll get a closer sense of sort of.
Mm.
You can truly open up, like yourself. So, very beautiful.
This is very powerful. Oh, thank you.
I feel that relief rushing through me, Beth. Even
Yes.
though we can't see, I can feel the tears. I can feel everything rushing through me. Thank you.
Oh, wow, what a gift. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Beth, so much.
My father-in-law as well. Thank you. He's going to be listening to this when he can. So.
Right, he can.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Yeah.
We'll have a replay on here so that anybody can listen to as often as they wish.
Yeah.
Beth, thank you, and Stephen, thank you both.
Thank you so much, all of you. Mas, this was just beautiful. I'm so grateful.
So glad you're here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and we are now joining with us. We've got Pat Ganaban from Hawaii, and Pat is a friend of Jane's and mine, and we're excited to have her here with us to work with Mas. So, hi, Pat. How are you?
Aloha. I miss you. So sweet.
Hello.
They look sweet.
Aloha to the world, the universe, everybody out there watching today. You have all my love.
So Pat, it's always so great to see your face, and thank you so much for being here. And you're coming to Hawaii.
Yes, I am in Hawaii. I'm coming to your island.
You're coming to the island of Hawaii is what I meant to say. Yes, I'm so glad. And Karl, I don't know if you know, but Pat was at our first Mas event and hosted it over on Oahu. And Mas immediately felt something with Pat. So Mas, I don't know if you remember what it was like to meet Pat, but I'd love for you to share.
That was an experience.
Actually, I kind of remember. When I'm in these states, I don't remember fully, so sorry. But I do remember tapping into her presence. It was really nice, very beautiful, very sublime. I remember that. But what we talked about, not so much.
I remember.
Okay, refresh our memory. I'm like him.
What I remember is that you instantly felt that Pat was from a lineage of healers.
Yes.
That there was a lot of dark energy in her lineage, and that dark energy of the lineage kept Pat from stepping into her own power of her healing abilities. And so once you began to work with her, you said that her where she was, I don't want to say level, but where she was so high that it was like, pushing a finger through a piece of tissue paper, that it would just, and then everything would open up for her. And then it would be instant. Like Jane Sibbett had a lot of stuff she had to clear out. But with Pat, she was so clean, it was super simple for you to work with her. And then immediately she began doing stuff. So that's what I saw when I was in Oahu.
Very nice. Yeah, and then I kind of remember, because the Hawaiians, they have this certain culture where they always want to hang out with their dead or hold on to their dead. I remember that part. So I helped her release that. I don't know if you remember that part, but yeah.
Yes.
The old culture, the old lineage, of keeping the dead around. In fact, when I first came into Hawaii, that was the first time I stepped on Hawaii. There was this density or heaviness, and I didn't quite know what that was. And until I figured it out, it was really a lot of, dead people hanging out. So just hanging out there, I helped, Pat, free a lot of that culture. A lot of people, actually.
Do you remember also with this event, there was a woman, and Pat, I don't know if she was a friend of yours, but she certainly was an acquaintance eventually, because she had so many entities inside of her, like hundreds, that you actually asked Pat to come and assist you.
Oh, she was the exorcist woman. Do you remember that, Pat? I don't know how you forget.
You want to tell the story?
Come here, and I came and I took your camera video thing. I don't know who she was.
Oh.
I don't either, but Well, I remember her because it was so vivid and really scared me out of my pants. And that's why I brought Pat in, because when you're delving into these entities, this was like it was a real exorcism. And she came in with some stomach issues, and as I worked on her stomach, all these like dark entities started coming out of her, like she had like packed them in, and I've never seen anything like that before. And being a computer guy, I'm going, I don't believe in that stuff, but when I saw it in her, I'm going, dang, what is going on? And then her shirt started like rippling up as these things started coming through, like physically, just like moving,
like wind.
Yeah, like wind coming through her shirt. I'm going, wow, what is that? And the atmosphere of the room. I think the temperature, there was a temperature change. I don't know, Pat, if you remember.
Yeah, there was. You should have seen me outside in the waiting room.
Yeah.
She like, ooh, what is he doing to her back there? Mas came out and told me, come, you got to see this.
Yeah. And there was this, again, a temperature change in the room.
Yeah.
And then cold. She started coming in like this, but she was like leaning so far back, like to a point where she'd fall over backwards if nothing was holding her, and nothing was holding her. And to this day, you could kind of see like something maybe like holding her arms, like ropes around her arm, just kind of holding her back like this, just like this. And all these entities just leaving. Her face started to transform into those entities as they were leaving. So that was like my first real exorcism.
So Mas, that's a pretty atypical scenario, or do a lot of people have entities attached to them?
They do have entities attached to them, but not at this level.
Yeah, that was pretty.
This was like a real exorcism.
And so when those entities leave, and Pat got to witness at least the effects when she was filming a little bit.
Well, Pat, did you see any of those, or did you feel any of those? The darkness, or?
I felt them.
Yeah.
I felt them, and then and it was strange because I did the video with Mas's camera, and when Mas tried to go back and retrieve that video, you just couldn't find it anywhere on your phone. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's just like it just disappeared. I know I was recording. I know what the word REC means.
Yeah, I know.
I was recording, it just vanished.
And I was recording, and there's only like a small clip of the video when we first started on my phone. Nothing else.
Yeah, and that.
Strange.
But to answer Mas's question, when he told me to come and I opened the door and I stood there, all I saw was this great big bubble come over me.
Yes.
Watch and see this, but don't worry, you're going to be protected. So I don't know if it was Mas protecting me or it just instantaneously, like a golden curtain, like the curtain I told you I keep seeing all the time, the golden curtain. So. And then she came back the second time when you came back again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was much clearer, but still a lot of.
Still howled. Yeah, I remember she was still howling. So what happened, Mas? How did they get back into her?
Oh, the second time around, remember she was doing that circle thing?
That's right.
Remember? Because I go, God, there's something that you're doing that comes in, and she goes, no, we're just doing this round, like this circle meditation that we do, where we call in like spirits to help us out. And I'm going, well, those aren't the spirits that you want to call in. So, I released them, but then she kept doing the circle meditation where they call in entities, whatever, what have you. And just for people who do shamanism and things like that, you guys have to be strong, internally to do things like that. Otherwise, you get errant spirits just like jump into you. Because they love the flesh.
Is there a protection that people that are doing that kind of work should do? I mean, how can we discern? She clearly didn't discern that she was.
Right. Yes, and unknowingly, obviously, if you knew what was happening, you'd never allow these spirits to come into you. But unknowingly, they seem friendly at first, but then after a while, they just start, holding on to you and distorting your pattern. There is a protection, becoming aware, but the best thing actually is to be connected to pure source so much that you don't have to worry about that. And yeah, that actually went through my mind too, because as these spirits came up, you know, it was amazing. I said, God, you know, I hope they don't say come into me, because I've had that. They've tried to come into me, but not at this level. And one of them turned around and it's like, you don't have to worry, because you're at a level that we just honor you. And I'm going, what? You know, I didn't understand what that meant, but now I understand. It's like they kind of see where you are at the level that you are, and they interact with you at that level. So for protection, you know, although you might fake that you're strong and all that, but internally they see everything about you. They scan you, and they see at the power level you are. So, kind of like, I don't know if you guys watch that show, maybe you, Karl, Goku, I forgot they have power levels. It's a Japanese cartoon. Yeah, my kids watch it. But anyway, they show the power level that everybody's is at. They sense the power level and then they go, oh, okay. So it was similar to that. And that's what entities do. So to protect yourself, again, wrap yourself like Pat does, you know, in that bubble. I don't know if I created that for you, or you probably have created that yourself, Pat. But just being together, you and I.
How it happened, but I just thank you for not letting nothing come to me.
Yes.
So I don't know how it happened. I was just walking down the hallway and boom, it came down. And you know what? I was not afraid.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Awesome. So Mas, right now, what are you sensing in Pat?
Pat, just kind of tapping into her. You know, there's really not a lot I can tap into, because the history, say, that was there has been deleted. So I just see like freshness in her. I work similar to, say, you know, files on your hard drive. You know, and that's how I tap into people. And for example, the last call that we did, it was Beth, right? Mm-hmm. I could kind of scan in and I go, and you know how you tap on, especially now with the touch screens, you can tap on a certain image or file. And if you want more information on that file, you just tap on it again and you get a drop-down list of all the history logs. That's what I do, that's what I see. And to, say, change somebody's future, right, or current life, I can go ahead and delete those files for you, so you start recreating new ones. So with Pat, I really don't see much there anymore, just more of a freshness and just more of a state of being. Although there are certain files being created, but they're all, you know, like new, they're fresh, no distortions really that I can like pick up.
Well, it's the creation part. How do you create new files?
How do I create new files?
Yeah, that was okay, we have to recreate things, and I'm just, well, how do you do that? And then I did that 21-day integration with your friend Daniel.
Okay.
Yeah, he said, we're always creating it, so our thoughts
yes.
are creating.
You know, the creation of files actually happens when there's nothing there. And this is very important. I don't like transpose anything of my beliefs or ideas into you, and that's why I leave that part blank for you. As I delete them, your default space or the memories of how you were start coming into you. Does that make sense? So there's like a backup file for you of the original backup source, right, of your true life, without the distortions of this lifetime, previous lifetime. Those backup files start coming into play. And that's how you really create, or that's how you really should create files. And I don't mess around with that. People who want to, say, create certain areas of their life, you know, well, I want this, 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 you know, they'll tend to realize that that's not the way to go either. You know, they really want to, say, leave that space open and let the default files come into you, and then you get some amazing results. I mean, take a look at my life.
Is that what you would call the root files? Every computer has root files. Root
files?
Yeah.
Yes. We all have root files. We all have default files. that come into us in physical form, which kind of opens up a really interesting question. A lot of people go, well, why is my life the way it is? You know, why do I have so many issues or whatever? And, you know, can we edit our lives and so on? And, or is life just, you know, just in concrete and you can't change it? And all of those are actually true. But over 90% of what happens to you is at a default level. So it just happens to you. The other 10% is there for you to become awakened, so you can take advantage of the other 90% that's there and start recreating your life from not a default file. Different from the root files, by the way, guys. These default files are usually from like past life experiences, traumas, great experiences, whatever, that's carried over. So these patterns that we create this lifetime. The root files are your original true files that are there for you, the truest essence of you. And that's what comes through. But the default files that come through for most people, again, most people don't become awakened enough, or they don't have an experience that they go, wow, I can change my life, and I can say delete those root files. And then there's people like me that go, oh, this is your default file, let's just delete it. And then something else pops in, a truer essence of you pops in. Did that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Or was it too tough?
It makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Our purest potential to create
Yes.
this place. Our purest
Yes,
full
exactly.
potential. Without
Yeah, and that's why I don't, I like goal setting, but most of us, again, aren't at a place to really set goals. So kind of leaving that blank for us.
That's something that we will work on perhaps in Hawaii too, is that you'll just help clear that space for us so that we can
Yes.
living our purest potential.
Yes. Yeah, and in Pat's case, you know, that space is actually clear, and she might sense a feeling of, say, emptiness in her, or something like that. It's like, well, what is there? That's because she's getting, say, ready to integrate. You know, there's still some cultural things that she holds on to, you know, some, say, physical things that she holds on to as being a human. But, you know, as those leave, she'll start to get a truer sense of why we walk on the earth the way we do. And that's where, like, I guess a lot of her abilities come in. A truer knowing of who we are at a higher level will come into you, Pat. That sense of now what type, you know, attitude will get removed, and you'll start to see, you know, well, why we're here, really.
Got it.
So you're in training mode, Pat.
Yeah, that's what I forget. I'm in training mode, so you cannot argue with me about it. I just go, whatever, I'm learning.
There you go.
I'm learning. I'm baby stepping over here. Actually, I do feel like a baby.
Yeah,
No.
it is like a baby because everything's so new, you know. Although you're in the same environment, everything just looks so new. You start to see how things work. You'll start to see the frequencies of, I don't know if you can do that, Pat. I think you can. Like when you look at something, can you see the frequencies of what's created? Or
See and feel, yes.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, Pat and I were at the beach last time, and people were walking down the beach, commenting on the different people, like, oh my gosh, they just were kissing. Oh my gosh. I was like, oh, so much information.
Yeah, so
Relate because they were having a honeymoon time. Okay, fine. Love you. Yeah. But you know, getting back to the part that I am letting go of, I think I had mentioned it before. I don't know to you, Jane, but it was carrying on the responsibility of all of this. Because, and you're right, in the past, in my ancestral line, I've seen this gift be misused, and I don't want to be like that. No, I want to help people. So my biggest fear was, I don't want to go down that dark road like they did. I don't care if it's in my DNA. It has to change.
Right.
And I'm hoping that Mas, you know, turn the knob a little, fine tune it. What frequency should I be on now? And
right.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, helping people shouldn't become a burden, really. You know, it should enhance your life, others that you help, right? Otherwise, you're not really helping them, probably. If you really
No.
think about it.
Most of the time, they don't even know that it's there anyway, which is fine with me.
That's true. That is so true.
Well, Pat, you help a lot of people I know just on the internet. Whenever I connect with you, and when people see you, they are always so happy to see you too. So I'm so glad you're going to be joining us in Hawaii.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
And on Kauai
It's
too.
gonna be
Lucky
so
girl.
fun.
That's really, really great. So I know that we have gone very long today. This has been.
I'm sorry, Karl.
Oh,
Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing, amazing. So thank you, Pat, for coming. I so appreciate it.
yeah, thank you, Pat. It was great
Thanks, Pat.
great to see you and great to have you on. And thank you to Mas and Jane. This was wonderful. I want to do this again because
Okay.
this was great. I don't, you know.
Sitting here and my frequency energy level is just floating up and up and up, going on. Can you feel that? Group hug.
Yeah. And Pat, I'll see you on Facebook, and we'll talk more about what we were experiencing today. Because just seeing you and Mas, and I'm just like feeling all of his work, his frequencies work still going through and fleshing. It's just.
And even the listeners just listening in or watching, they'll they'll get that effect as well. So.
Right. So go to massajady.com, MASSAJADY.com for more information about the Hawaii retreat, the 21-day meditations, and all the other wonderful things that you can be a part of.
Yes.
And thank you, Karl, so much for having us.
Thanks, Karl.
All right.
Aloha.
Great to see everybody. Aloha, and we'll talk soon.
Okay,
Sounds
thanks.
good, guys.
Okay.
Take care.
All right.
Aloha.
All right.
Aloha.
Bye. So that was Pat Ganaban, and also obviously Jane, my co-host, and healer Mas Sajady. And well, I know he doesn't agree with the idea of healer, but he's actually quite extraordinary, and the way that he works and what it is that he does for people is really, truly amazing. So thanks for joining us today on Superpowers, and we will see you next time.